Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Indian Air Force and Headquarters Southern Air Command, I extend a warm welcome to all the members of the press and media fraternity to this industry outreach program on over-the-sea cargo drones for logistic and mobility solutions for Lakshadweep and Minicoy Islands. This is organized as a part of the Meher Baba 4 competition in collaboration with FICCI. This competition was first conceived in October 2018, and since then there has been 3 editions so far, and this is the 4th edition. This event has brought together stakeholders from Ministry of Defense, Headquarters Integrated Defense Services, Indian Armed Forces, Coast Guard, academia, domain experts, and stakeholders from private industry. First section of this edition of this program has just concluded and will further continue immediately after this interaction. We are honored to have with us Air Marshal Narmadesh Tiwari, Sarvottam Yudh Seva Medal, Paramvishta Seva Medal, Adhivisht Seva Medal, Vaisena Medal, Vice Chief of Air Staff, and Air Marshal Manish Khanna, Uttam Yudh Seva Medal, Adhivisht Seva Medal, Vaisena Medal, Air Officer Commanding in Chief, Southern Air Command. Both the senior officers are here to share the valuable insights on the Indian Air Force vision for leveraging drone technologies in logistic domains and will answer your queries on the topic. I would like to emphasize that the media interaction is exclusively on the theme of today's event. The senior officers will take on few questions. As per the time constraints, we request all the members of the press to kindly restrict their questions to this event and related topics. May I now request Vice Chief of Air Staff to address the gathering.
Thank you and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it's a proud privilege for me to be here amongst you all on this very, very important subject. Just as we were discussing in the morning in the meeting, Lakshadweep and Minicoy Islands, they are our front posts in our protecting our strategic interests. And if we have to achieve what Viksit Bharat 2047 we are looking at, independence in the strategic domain is very important. And for that, we have to protect our interests, which we know that these are the important sea lines of communications which go from here. So economy and trade is intricately interlinked. And if you have to protect these interests in this uncertain geopolitical times, it is very important to continue developing these islands, both Lakshadweep as well as Andamans on the other side, because unless we protect these, which will be our frontier posts in our future, we will be found wanting. And therefore, there is a lot of interest from the government side to enhance the infrastructure in these locations. And when you enhance infrastructure and capacity, you have to sustain them. And to sustain them, the challenge, I was in Lakshadweep yesterday, you can physically see on the ground how difficult it is to sustain transportation, providing medicines, even day-to-day living, things like vegetables, and it is much more accentuated when the weather is bad. And therefore, when we have to look at long term, we have to look at how to provide this logistical and mobility solutions. And there was no better forum than what we have, because the previous editions of this forum, of this competition, Meher Baba, have produced excellent results, and many of the industries today are leading from the front in innovation and R&D in this regard. So I think it's a perfect platform for us as an Air Force to associate with the industry here. We know the industry in Kerala is very, very capable, and I'm sure end of this session, we will have some meaningful dialogues and we'll be able to provide and work our way forward to provide solution to these problems that are likely to emerge in the future. So with that, I'm ready to take on questions that you may have. Thank you.
Sir, please.
From the Hindu. What exactly are your plans for next week and with regard to unmanned aerial systems? One. The second thing is, what will be the Southern Air Command's role?
Okay, so the first part in terms of what is the capacity enhancement we are looking, as you already aware, that Agati is the only airfield that we have. So there is an expansion plan for that airfield to ensure that we are able to accommodate bigger aircrafts, have some limited tarmac space, so that the current limitation of having only one aircraft going at a time is not there. We also have to increase our surveillance capability. So we are already deploying certain radars in those areas. We are also going to develop another airport at Minicoy. So when all this happens, you will find that inter-island connectivity also is important. So it is not just from mainland to the islands, but also inter-island. And therefore, these kind of mobility solutions, which will not, don't need to enhance your footprint on the ground, especially the ecological footprint, because that is going to be challenging with the limited land availability. So, you can't have big ports. You will have issues if you can't have an airfield on every island, because many of the islands are very small and with the limited population. Therefore, this drone mobility situation provides a good via media and balance, which will help develop these capabilities. As far as Southern Air Command's role is concerned, they are going to be actually the ones who will drive this innovative program. While we are there at our headquarters support, it will largely be curated from here. The industries in this area, I think they are the best place to interact, and they will provide the user perspective and also provide that bridge between if some funding or policy decisions are required at the higher level, which we can provide. But finally, they will be the ones who will be sitting with the industry on ground to execute it.
What type of aircraft will be stationed in Agati and the new airport at Minicoy?
That's some distance away. So once it gets developed, we will take a call at that point of time. Right now, we are looking at providing that mobility solutions when these infrastructure is enhanced in these locations.
So, Praveen from PTI, can you just share finer details like what kind of capacity you are looking at this drone? What are the kind of operational time, distance, everything?
So currently, by the capability that is available in the industry and what is globally benchmarked, it is a challenge because even many of these logistics delivery companies like Amazon and all are looking at developing this with greater capacity. So basically having mapped the industry, what is available, what is our capability, and the timeline that we are looking at. We are looking at next to 2-3 years. We are not looking something 10 years down the line. So we have currently fixed 300 kgs payload, 300 to 500 kilometers range. We would look 500 is what we would expect, but anything above 300 is a plus point for us, and about a 5-hour endurance, that will provide that kind of a range. So a combination of different propulsion technologies, different designs. We would prefer to largely focus indigenous because we should have the capacity to have the R&D in the country. That is very important, the IPR. So this is the broad parameters we are working on. Some of these things will also be discussed in the next session with the industry because they will provide a perspective. So when we are able to come onto a mutually, agreeable qualitative requirements, then we'll get down to work specifically and ensure that it happens.
What is your assessment about the capability of the industry here? How is the ecosystem?
Yeah, so we are very hopeful. That's why we asked the Southern Air Command to conduct it here, because we have touched many localities in different Meher Baba competitions. Of course, Meher Baba competition is not exclusive to any region. it is pan-India, so you can have it being run and curated by Southern Air Command, but you could have an industry maybe sitting in Gujarat or even in Delhi. But I've seen largely there is a fairly good ecosystem in and around Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, and now even in places around Ahmedabad. So many of these areas are coming up. But here, I think the foundational technology exists, and these the industries, your technoparks which are there. There is your aerospace and startups which are available here. I think they will all definitely play an important role in ensuring that we can provide that kind of solution. So I think I'm very sanguine, and I'm very optimistic about the capabilities that is available here, and I'm sure that we will get solutions in this regard.
The drones also capable for defense weapons carrying weapons.
Yeah, see, once you make a drone, it is, I would think, agnostic to what kind of usage is there. So you can use the same drone for carrying a weapon. You can use the same drone for carrying medicines. So a little bit of tweaking is required. So a lot of these areas, there are various kind of applications being thought of. You can have one common, platform, and you can have a modular kind of a payload, which you can substitute, let's say, a payload for carrying some logistics load with a weapon, or tomorrow a surveillance camera can be put for security, monitoring. So that is the kind of ideation that we are looking from the industry, because that if that kind of a design is there in the system and it provides multiple solutions, so it is not specifically only the Air Force is going to use. Tomorrow, even the civil administration will find a use for it, especially in places which are remote, in humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, or supplementing where medicines have to reach remote areas where roads are not existent. So the advantage of drone and flying over the air is that you don't need the road and other associate parameters, which is challenging in many of the terrain that you're already aware, or even when you are cut off in some situations like cyclone or heavy rainfall, landslides and things like that. So the drones will have many applications. So while we have done this as a starting this competition on this theoretical construct, but like I had told also in my talk, that at the end of it, where you can reach many different solutions, and each will be very important for us. For example, in Meher Baba 1, we started with a certain problem statement, but today the same companies are making entirely different products because they have learned from that and innovated, and that's what we call spiral development, and moved actually to some other technological solutions which are solving a lot of problems for us today.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next session is supposed to start at 11:50. So it will be the last question, please.
Just one more.
Last question, please. On this.
Can you just share more details about what are our plans, development, capacity building in islands in Lakshadweep and in particular?
How important is it for the maritime security in the Indian Ocean?
Because we had a lot of even drug trafficking through that route. Earlier we had seized a lot of things. So it generates a very vulnerable.
Yeah, I get your point. Actually, both I covered in my talk also. You got the Lakshadweep Islands on one side of the peninsular India and the Andaman Nicobar area. So they are like flanks. They are literally protecting the country and also making sure our presence is there, and we have an outreach further on from there. Be it you want to carry out military operations, you want to carry out surveillance operations, any kind of operations they can become very good stepping stones. And I'm sure you'd be aware the government of India had already approved two major projects of building up air bases. One was the extension of the runway at Agati, and an air base is supposed to come up there. Similarly, at Menikoy, totally new airfield is planned to come up there, and money for this by and large has been allocated already, and it's just a matter of land acquisition and then moving ahead. We are looking at architectural plans there, and this is what really spurred this, because with increased presence there and the weather problems we have, the sea state issues which we have, we are not able to get accessibility to that particular area. So therefore, we are looking at these solutions of drones. By drones, we don't mean quadcopters as such. We are also looking at, these will be fixed wing drones. They will take off vertically, transit into, horizontal flight. They'll have probably wings also. And this is what will give them a longer reach and a higher payload carrying capacity. And of course, they can be used for multiple purposes once the technology and the ecosystem develops in this regard.
Ashwin from
Last question, please.
Ashwin from NDTV. How soon can we expect the operational deployment of these cargo drones? Where does the Air Force see it? Number two, what about the data security and challenges, especially in the signal weak areas?
Okay, so how fast is, I think we should have a prototype in 2 to 3 years time is the time frame I'm looking at. That is a practical aspect of it, because there are a lot of challenging points to be, covered. One is what you also mentioned about long distances being there, lack of, it could be either satellite communication or lack of, navigation data, sometimes in a navigation denied environment, weather, salinity, and of course, the very fact that you have to develop an ecosystem to even reach a stage where you can produce this in numbers that you require. So those are challenges we will meet when we reach it. But I would think 3 years is a good time where we are looking at a maturing of the technology, which will probably be able to go to a prototype stage and start proving it.
One question from this side, anyone? So just trying this. Anyone from here?
Till now, how many startups associated with the IAM?
Sorry.
How many startups associated with IAM? The drone MDC4.
So how many startups are associated with the IAF with this drone technology?
We had over 120 in the first two competitions.
This is MBC4 edition. How many startups associating with the IAF?
I'm not sure of the numbers, but it is over 100 definitely, and many of them have gone on to do other things, not only with the Air Force but with the Army, Navy, and even the civil sector. Okay, so they have done started with us. So our hand holding is more important for us, for them to understand the operational requirement, and we will provide that formalized platform through which inputs can be given. But there is no hold that this technology cannot go to other services or to, even to the civil sector, because that is how development happens. We are more than happy to see it proliferate.
So currently, the drone program is exclusively IAF?
No. Nothing is exclusively IAF. We are only providing a platform for incubation. But once it's developed, it is not that we have the first rights. Those companies can go to anywhere else where they find a customer.